Today we're going to be talking about the functional trainer squat. This is an incredible exercise for those who are looking to build musculature in their legs. And let me show you guys how to set it up. So the first thing you're going to want to do is set up your cable arm height all the way down to the bottom. You want it as low as possible. I'm just showing you how to move it. And then you want to keep your rotation arm at a 1. That way you're inside the machine as much as possible and not in the middle of the gym floor. Then you want to make sure you choose the appropriate weight. You can go a little bit heavy on this exercise, but just make sure you can do 20 repetitions comfortably and then slowly start to increase the weight every other week. Once you do that, you just want to make sure that you're standing as close to the machine as possible. That way it's pulling you directly down and not forward. And then you also want to make sure that you keep your feet straight. You can have a slight outward angle when it comes to your feet, but you just want to make sure that they're fairly straight. Sit back and then come up. Before we continue, here's a word from today's video sponsor.
I'm today's video sponsor, and if you'd like help losing fat or gaining muscle, there are a few ways I can help you down below. Either set up a free consultation with us, purchase through one of our free affiliate links, or purchase one of our instant access affordable training programs. Can't wait to be of service to you. Now let's get back to the rest of the video.
We talked about a couple points, but let's go into more detail now. So what you want to do is you want to be standing around shoulder width apart or even slightly wider than that. And you want to make sure that you're thinking about sitting back, but not necessarily just sitting back to where your knees are barely bending forward. That's not what you want. It's common to think that because you see that in a lot of videos, but that's actually bad for your knees. You want to apply pressure on the whole foot as a whole as you're squatting. You want basically your tibia, which is the bone in the lower leg, in front of your lower leg, to be parallel with your torso. So if those two things are parallel, then you're golden. That's a perfect squat, and you're going to recruit as much muscle fibers as possible in order to build muscle in your legs. This is mainly going to be working your quadriceps though. Now once you do that, you just, like I said, you want to stand around shoulder width apart. Push the hips back, bend the knees forward, and keep your chest up. Notice also the type of handle I'm using for this squat. It's called a V-bar. So you want to make sure you use this V-bar, and it's the most comfortable position. Now, you can use a straight bar, but I don't recommend it. This is very, very comfortable, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to hold this weight, especially as you start increasing the weight over time. Next thing I want you guys to really focus on is making sure you're keeping your core tight and your chin tucked. Those two things are important because unless you keep your core tight, you're going to find that you're just rounding your lower back or you're arching your lower back excessively. You just want to keep the spine as neutral as possible in the lower position. And you also want to make sure that you're keeping your chin tucked because you don't want to look up as you're squatting. I don't recommend it because it's going to place an unnecessary amount of strain on your lower back. Make sure also that your heels do not lift off the ground. So here's some common mistakes. Half reps. We don't want to be doing this. If you can't do a normal squat, don't do this exercise. Make sure you can do a normal squat properly first and then transition to this. Also, don't aggressively lock your knees out at the top. I don't even recommend you fully lock out. Just keep the weight moving. That way you keep tension on the muscles. Also, make sure your knees don't cave in. Your knees should be over your feet. So you should be able, if you look down, you should be able to see your knees. Next thing is you want to make sure that you're not on your toes like this. This is unnecessary also. You need to sit back more if this happens. Next mistake is we don't want that weight too far away from our chin. So we want to keep our elbows forward and up and keep our hands by our chin.